Hi everyone. Today we're going to be showing you how you can make a resource list in Destiny. Destiny is our library's card catalog. When making resource lists, you'll have the opportunity to make more than one, so you can have multiple subjects covered. The lists can also be made public, which means everyone would have access to viewing the titles you've selected for the list. And you can easily change that setting so that a list isn't public when it no longer needs to be, but the list is saved so that you could use it again the following year when you're teaching the same unit. An ideal use for public resource lists would be that students can view the resource list during their library time, and they would be able to bring a book back that you have selected for the class to be working with when they come back from their library time. So rather than the teacher, rather than the librarian giving you basically a box of books that the students will be working out of, the students would have the practice of finding that resource for themselves that they can then bring to the class and the entire class could use as a group. And your lists are saved so you can easily add titles, remove titles from year to year. Okay, to get to our card catalog, you will start by going to your library's webpage, and your library's webpage can be found linked from your school webpage. Our card catalog is called Destiny, and the student view is referred to as Destiny Quest. So this is the screen that your student would be working from when they go to view a resource list. The resource lists are right here in the middle of the page, and the student will basically be able to select whichever topic or category you've created for them, and when they open that up, then they will see all of the titles that are within the list, and they can see if it's available, they can read the description. It's just a really easy way for you to have specific titles for the students to be working from. For you to create the list, you're actually going to have to leave Destiny Quest, and to do that you'll be in the upper right hand corner and you'll simply click Exit Destiny Quest. Once to the white screen of Destiny, you will log in the upper right hand corner, and your username is very similar to our LARS, or identical actually to our LARS login. So it's your first name and last name with no space in between, and your password is password. On the left hand side, you will click Resource Lists. You won't want to be adding titles to your personal list because you won't have the option to make that personal list public, and you also will not have the option to change the name of that list. And you're going to want to have a list title that's very specific to the titles within the books that are within that list to make it easy for you to organize your list and for your students to know what they're looking for. To create a list, on the right hand side you'll click Add List, and you can title your list anything that you like. And I'm just going to call mine Mrs. Olson for now. Obviously you would want to make it very specific if you plan on making multiple lists that you can use throughout the year. And I'm going to toggle this to be public and then save, and a description is entirely up to you if you'd like to add a description. So you can see that I've added this list and it shows up right here that is currently toggled to public. If ever I wanted to go back and change that so that it wasn't public, you would do that in the right hand side and click Edit. And then now I'm back to that screen where I can change the title if I decided I wanted to make that title more specific now, or I wanted to make it not available for everyone to see. That's where I would do that. And if you decide that you don't want a list any longer, the trash can on the right hand side is where you would simply get rid of that list altogether. Once you have your list title created, we need to add titles. You can either click on Library Search along the left hand side, or simply click back up on the catalog link, and we'll return back to our card catalog. So now we're able to browse all of the titles that are within the library. And this is actually going to pull up titles that would include videos, books, and ebooks. Basically anything that is part of our card catalog is searchable. So let's say we are looking at tornadoes, for example. we can just simply click keyword for a keyword search. And this brought up 10 titles that matched my search criteria. If I were to go back to the screen where I was just searching, you'll notice that you have the option to adjust your reading level. So if you are looking for reading levels that will pertain to your particular group of students, that would be ideal for you to set a reading level as a restriction before you begin. And I will just simply do that same search again. I don't have any particular thing in mind that I'm trying to limit mine to. I'm just trying to show you how you will create the list. So when we are on our results page, if at a glance you look at these titles and you think, yep, these are all titles that I would want to have in this list, there's an easy button which you could add this entire page of titles to your resource list. Most likely you're going to want to go in and look at a brief description for the titles. And when you click on the title, you'll have a brief description right here. And then also you have the option to click on the cover of the book. And if you noticed a second ago, the cover of my book didn't load. When I hit Command R or refresh my screen, the title loaded. Sometimes that's a glitch that we experience in Destiny, that if we simply hit refresh, then we'll have access to view more title information. So when we click on the cover of the book, it's going to take us into a more thorough explanation of the book, or in this case, it's giving me a full table of contents for the book. Many books are going to have reviews for them, especially if it's a fiction book. It will have a full description of the story. Maybe it will list some characters, and it will also give you reviews from major publications. So when I'm looking at the screen right here, it shows my selected list is the one that I just entered. So typically the default list is going to be your most recent list added. So as long as that's the correct list, and this is in fact a book I do want to add to that list, I simply would click that right here. And now this is showing me that this is a title that I have in that list. When I go back to my search results, on the right hand side, now I'm seeing that this title is in the list, so I don't have any question as to whether or not that's there. And if I want to simply add the title, when I'm looking at this screen, you can also click on that right here where it says add to this list. And so now both of those titles will be there. If we were to go back to Destiny Quest, this title is now here. The resource list that I just created is here. And when I click on that, it will pull up the titles that I dropped in there. So you can see that this is a really easy way for you to communicate titles that you're wanting to work with the students, or if you want to share this list, depending on your student's grade level. The lower grades, for example, you might ask the librarian to pull these titles that you can work with in the classroom. For the students that are able to independently work from the card catalog and search out their own book, this gives them excellent practice for developing those independent skills in the library. If you have any questions about creating a resource list, please visit with your librarian. Thank you for viewing.